Welcome back to Veteran Game, the place where we slice through the hype and get to the heart of what makes your next favorite game. Before we drop into the war zone, smash that like button and subscribe for more fearless reviews, deep dives, and gaming lore breakdowns. Seriously for the Emperor. Today, we're talking about one of the bloodiest, most beloved games in Warhammer 40k history, now reborn for a new era. Warhammer 40,000, Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition. The original was already a cult classic, famous for its mix of third-person shooting, hack-and-slash carnage, and buckets of lore-soaked attitude. But does the Mastercrafted Edition actually deliver, or is it just a nostalgia trip with extra pixels? Let's set the stage. You are Captain Titus of the Ultramarines. A one-man army dropped into the hellish chaos of Forge World Graia, facing an orc invasion and the looming threat of chaos. The odds are impossible. The stakes are the fate of humanity, and the solution is purge everything with overwhelming firepower and chainsword brutality. Here's what's changed. First, the game looks gorgeous in a grimdark, blood-splattered, Emperor-approved kind of way. Textures are crisp, character models are sharp, and everything's running at 4K if you've got the setup. You can practically see the orc grime on their teeth before you blast it off their faces. The UI has had a total overhaul. Health bars, icons, weapon selection screens all look slicker and are easier to read, but they never lose that gothic 40k vibe. Even the sound is remastered. Chainsword revs, bolter blasts, and the screams of dying enemies have never sounded so crunchy. What about the gameplay? That's the real test for any remaster. The good news, it's all here just as you remember, but smoother and more responsive. From the opening pistol and knife loadout to the late-game arsenal of machine guns, flamers, and the iconic chainsword, everything feels tight. You get 4 weapon slots for swapping between ranged destruction and melee mayhem, so whether you're thinning a horde with the bolter or cleaving orcs in half with an axe, every hit lands with real weight. There's a reason satisfying combat shows up in every review of this game. And let's talk about that combat. This isn't a cover shooter. Space Marine is all about charging headlong into swarms of enemies, smashing and slashing your way through with style and violence. It's bloody, over the top, and never apologizes. Want to regain health? Forget hiding behind a wall. Execute a foe with a brutal finisher right in the middle of the fight. It's high risk, high reward, and it never gets old. Chainsword fans, this is your heaven. You'll also use Fury mode for stronger melee attacks or slow motion marksman mode for clutch ranged moments. And yes, every melee weapon has its own gory execution animation, because sometimes you G to see an orc explode like a meat piñata. The story, for better or worse, is untouched. Captain Titus and his squad fighting back against the orc tide, uncovering heresy, and trying to prevent the rise of chaos. If you're a Warhammer 40k lorehead, you'll love the shoutouts and references. If not, don't worry, it's straightforward enough to follow without an encyclopedia. The Mastercrafted Edition does a great job smoothing out the rough edges of the original most of the time. Controls are updated, but some quirks remain. The weapon wheel can feel a bit stiff, and there was a weird grenade mapping issue that's mostly fixed, but can still cause a few facepalm moments. Occasionally, enemies get stuck in the environment or glitch out and ignore you. These are mostly minor and they don't get in the way of the fun. Performance-wise, it's solid. Even with huge enemy waves on screen, the frame rate holds strong. No stutters, no crashes, just relentless fluid action from start to finish. The campaign itself is short by modern standards. Most players will finish in under 10 hours, but it's a dense, adrenaline-packed ride from start to finish. There's multiplayer too, with the original 8v8 modes included. It's not the star attraction, but if you want to squad up and see whose chainsword is bigger, go wild. Let's get real for a second. What makes Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition special isn't innovation. It's the preservation of everything that made the original such a blast. The sheer power fantasy of being an ultramarine, the unashamed brutality, the heavy metal vibe. The remaster is faithful, sometimes to a fault. There aren't major new features or gameplay changes here. Just a much slicker, more beautiful version of a game that already knew exactly what it wanted to be. Is it perfect? Not quite. It's a little old school in some ways, and the short campaign will leave you wanting more, especially if you're coming straight from Space Marine 2. But for fans, newcomers, and anyone who's ever dreamed of yelling for the Emperor as they carve through a green tide, this is the best way to experience a 40k classic. Final verdict. If you love the original, you owe it to yourself to play this version. If you missed it the first time, this is the time to jump in. Grab your bolter, don the blue armor, and show the universe why humanity always has the best one-liners and the bloodiest finishers. Have you played Space Marine before? Which 40k game would you love to see remastered next? Let me know in the comments. And as always, subscribe to Veteran Game for more brutally honest reviews, bold opinions, and deep dives into your favorite gaming universes. For the Emperor and for your backlog. See you next time.